Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So today we're really excited to get into Autobiography of a Yogi
Yes,
by Paramhansa Yogananda.
one of my favorites.
It's a fascinating book, and
Absolutely.
we've had a lot of requests from listeners who have been practicing yoga but haven't
Yeah.
quite seen those deeper mental and spiritual shifts they were hoping for.
Yeah, and they're finding this book to be a bit dense.
Yeah, it can be pretty challenging
It is.
to get through all the stories and
Yeah, there's a lot there.
really extract the practical advice.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of our mission today,
I like
just
that.
to dive into this book and see what we can glean from it that could be helpful for our listeners
Perfect.
who are maybe in that place
I love it.
of wanting to go deeper with their practice but not sure where to start.
Yeah, well, what's so captivating about this book is that
Mm.
Yogananda doesn't just talk about yoga postures.
Right.
He takes us on this incredible journey through his own life,
Yeah.
sharing his experiences with these remarkable saints and yogis.
Yeah. It's like getting a glimpse into a whole other world.
Exactly.
And it offers so much insight beyond the physical practice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so excited to have you here. You spent years studying this book.
Oh, it's been quite a journey.
And I know you can help us pull out those golden nuggets of wisdom
Happy to.
that can make a real difference,
My pleasure.
especially for someone like our listener
Right.
who's searching for that deeper connection.
Right.
So maybe a good place to start is
Sure.
this idea of finding the right teacher.
Well, absolutely. And, one of the first things that struck me when I first read this book
Yeah.
was the emphasis of Yogananda places on finding the right teacher, a guru.
Yeah, like his own guru, Sri Yukteswar,
Mm-hmm.
who played such a huge role in Yogananda's spiritual development.
Absolutely. It's not just about showing up to a class. It's about finding that person who can really guide you on your unique path.
Right. And
Right.
and that's something that, a lot of our listeners have expressed is that they feel like they're kind of bouncing around from studio to studio or trying different online classes.
Sure.
And they haven't quite found that connection, that resonates with them.
Right.
So I love the story where Yogananda tries to run away to the Himalayas thinking he could find enlightenment on a mountaintop.
Oh, yeah.
He literally thought the mountain itself held more wisdom than his teacher.
It's funny, but it also highlights that even with the best intentions, we can sometimes miss the guidance that's right in front of us.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we seek external solutions when the most profound transformations happen through a deep personal connection with a guide who understands our individual needs and aspirations.
Right. It makes me think of that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
That's a good one.
And maybe sometimes we're just not quite ready to receive that guidance.
Impossible.
So, even with the right guidance, Yogananda emphasizes that to truly experience the transformative power of yoga, we have to move beyond just the physical practice.
Well, he constantly reminds us that yoga is a holistic system that encompasses the mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
If we're only focusing on the physical postures, we're missing out on the full spectrum of benefit.
Okay, so then how do we bridge that gap?
Right.
What are some practical steps we can take to connect more deeply with the mental and spiritual aspects of yoga?
Well, Yogananda introduces a powerful technique called Kriya Yoga,
Okay.
which he describes as a way to directly work with the life force, the prana,
Yep.
to gain control over the mind and achieve deeper states of meditation.
I see. So, our listeners have been talking about this feeling of frustration with the lack of mental and spiritual benefits from their practice. Would you say Kriya Yoga could be a tool to address those specific concerns?
It's certainly, could you see, when we're struggling with mental chatter, anxiety, or emotional turmoil, it's often because our energy is scattered and our minds are constantly pulled in different directions.
Yeah.
Kriya Yoga helps to calm that inner storm by bringing our attention inward and cultivating a sense of stillness.
So it's not just about relaxation.
No.
It's about actually gaining mastery over the mind.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is that Kriya Yoga isn't some new age invention.
Right.
Yogananda even shares a quote from the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna explains this technique to Arjuna.
Wow.
It's a practice that's been passed down through generations, rooted in ancient wisdom.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's like tapping into this ancient lineage of knowledge and applying it to our modern-day challenges.
Exactly.
But I'm guessing this isn't something you just pick up from a YouTube video, right?
You're right. Kriya Yoga is traditionally taught by authorized teachers who have been trained in the lineage.
I see.
It's about preserving the authenticity and purity of the practice.
Okay.
But don't worry, there are resources available if you're interested in learning more.
Okay, so a little something for you to explore, listeners. We'll make sure to include some resources in the show notes.
Sounds good.
Now, moving on, another key idea that resonated with me was this emphasis on mental and spiritual shifts being just as important as the physical practice.
Absolutely.
It's like we can perfect our downward dog,
Right.
but if our minds are still racing, are we truly experiencing the full benefits of yoga?
Absolutely. And Yogananda shares so many incredible anecdotes in the book that really drive this point home.
Yeah.
Take, for example, the story of the doctor who was completely skeptical about spirituality.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't believe in God, but he was suffering from a serious illness.
Right.
Shri Yukteswar prescribed him an astrological bangle,
Uh-huh.
and to the doctor's surprise, he was completely healed.
I remember that story. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes our beliefs can limit our experience.
Absolutely.
What if we're so focused on the physical aspects of yoga that we're blocking the subtle energetic shifts that could be happening?
That's a great question to reflect on. What are some of your own preconceived notions about healing, about spirituality, that might be holding you back from experiencing the full potential of yoga?
Yeah, I think it's easy to get caught up in the idea that yoga is just about stretching and strengthening.
Sure.
But this story reminds us that there's a whole other dimension to it,
Right.
a realm of energy and consciousness that we might be overlooking.
Exactly.
And it's not just about being open to different approaches.
Right.
It's about recognizing that our own inner state, our thoughts and beliefs play a huge role in our overall well-being,
Absolutely.
right? And speaking of inner states, Yogananda didn't shy away from sharing his own struggles, did he?
He didn't.
Like his battles with ego and pride, even after years of dedicated practice.
Absolutely. Even someone as advanced as Yogananda faced challenges on his spiritual path.
Yeah.
In fact, his experiences highlight how those challenges can be catalysts for growth.
Yeah.
His guru, Sri Yukteswar, was incredibly strict and demanding,
Right.
constantly pushing Yogananda to confront his limitations.
And I think that's such an important message for anyone who's feeling discouraged or frustrated on their own journey.
I agree.
It's okay to struggle, to have doubts, to stumble along the way. It's all
Yeah.
part of the process.
It's a reminder that the spiritual path isn't always smooth sailing.
Right.
There will be ups and downs, moments of clarity and moments of confusion.
Right.
But the key is to keep moving forward, to keep learning and growing.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that brings us to another fascinating concept that Yogananda explores in depth: karma and reincarnation.
Right.
It's a topic that often sparks a lot of questions and debate,
Yeah.
but I think it offers a really valuable perspective on why we might be facing the specific challenges we do in our life.
Absolutely. It's not about blame or punishment.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
about understanding that our actions, both in this life and previous lives, create consequences that ripple through time.
Right.
And by becoming aware of those patterns, we can start to make more conscious choices that lead to greater harmony and fulfillment.
And I think that's where the idea of non-attachment comes in, right?
Absolutely.
It's not about giving up everything we love, but about shifting our perspective.
Yes.
Letting go of that clinging and grasping that can cause so much suffering.
Exactly. And this concept is beautifully illustrated in Yogananda's meeting with Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh, yeah.
Here's this world-renowned figure living in such simplicity,
Right.
completely detached from material possessions.
Yeah.
He embodies this principle of non-attachment, not just in his lifestyle, but in his approach to life's challenges.
Yeah, I remember that quote from Gandhi where he talks about finding life amidst destruction.
Yes.
It's like he's saying that even in the midst of chaos and turmoil, there's this unwavering sense of peace and presence that comes from letting go of our need to control everything.
And this brings us back to the connection between non-attachment and karma. By releasing our grip on the outcome, by surrendering to the flow of life, we can actually influence our karmic cycle in a positive way.
I see.
It's like we're creating space for new possibilities to emerge, for our actions to flow from a place of greater clarity and wisdom.
So it's not about being passive or resigned.
Right.
It's about actively choosing to approach life with a more detached and open perspective.
Exactly.
I love that. Now, before we dive into even more insights from the book, let's take a moment to pause and reflect, listener.
Take a breath.
What's resonating with you so far?
Yeah.
What's sparking your curiosity?
What are you noticing?
What feels particularly relevant to your own journey right now?
Take some time with that.
We'll be back in a moment to continue our exploration.
Looking forward to it. So glad to hear those insights are resonating with you. Remember, this journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth is deeply personal. What works for one person may not work for another, and that's perfectly okay. The key is to find what speaks to your heart and helps you connect more deeply with the practice.
Yeah, it's like finding your own rhythm, your own unique path through this vast landscape of yoga. And speaking of finding what works, I remember a story from Autobiography of a Yogi that I think might be particularly relevant to your journey. It's about Master Mahasaya and his unwavering emphasis on devotion.
Master Mahasaya, the embodiment of love for the divine. He truly believed that this heartfelt connection, this yearning for something greater, was the key to unlocking spiritual liberation.
It's like he was saying that true yoga isn't just about physical postures or mental discipline. It's about cultivating that deep inner longing for something beyond ourselves, something that connects us to the very source of our being.
And remember how Yogananda described his first encounter with Master Mahasaya? He was so overwhelmed by the yogi's presence, by the feeling of separation from the divine, that he collapsed in anguish. It speaks to the intensity of that longing, the depth of that yearning that can sometimes drive us on our spiritual quest.
Wow. Yeah, it's like that feeling of incompleteness that so many of us experience in our lives. Maybe it's not a void to be filled with external things, but a longing for that ultimate connection, that union with the divine that yoga points us towards.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that Master Mahasaya didn't advocate for passive devotion. He emphasized the importance of right action, of aligning our lives with their spiritual principles we hold dear.
Right. That brings to mind another crucial point from the book. Finding deeper meaning in yoga requires effort, discipline, and right action. It's not about passively hoping for transformation. It's about actively participating in the process.
It's about making conscious choices, cultivating positive habits, and putting in the work to refine our thoughts, words, and actions. Yogananda's time at Sri Yukteswar's ashram offers a powerful example of this. Remember all the challenges he faced, the strict routine, the demanding tasks, the constant tests. It wasn't a walk in the park.
Right, that story about the cauliflowers?
Oh, yeah.
Where Sri Yukteswar somehow knew a half-witted man had taken one without permission.
That's right.
This is a bit humorous, but it also shows that even seemingly mundane activities can become opportunities for growth if we approach them with the right mindset.
It highlights the importance of mindfulness, of bringing that awareness into every moment, regardless of whether we're on our yoga mat or navigating the complexities of daily life. It's about weaving those yogic principles into the very fabric of our existence.
So it's not just about carving out an hour for yoga practice each day. It's about embodying those principles of discipline, mindfulness, and right action throughout the day. And I think that beautifully ties into the concept of karma yoga, the path of selfless service.
Precisely. Yogananda constantly emphasized that serving others, acting with compassion and selflessness, is an integral part of the yogic path. It's not just about personal growth. It's about contributing to the well-being of all beings.
It's about recognizing that interconnectedness, realizing that our actions have a ripple effect that extends far beyond ourselves. And this service doesn't have to be grand or dramatic. It can be as simple as lending a listening ear, offering a helping hand, or simply bringing more awareness and intention to our interactions with others.
Remember Yogananda's efforts to establish the Ranchi school? It started as a humble endeavor with a handful of students, but through dedicated service and unwavering commitment, it blossomed into a thriving institution that touched countless lives.
It's a beautiful example of how even small acts of service can have a profound impact, not just on others, but on our own hearts and minds as well. And speaking of inspiring examples, I can't help but think about all those incredible stories of saints and yogis that Yogananda shares in the book. They offer such a glimpse into the extraordinary possibilities that unfold when we dedicate ourselves to the path of yoga.
Those stories can seem almost fantastical, can't they? Like the tale of Trailanga, the saint who could drink poison without any ill effects, or Ram Gopal Muzumdar, the sleepless saint who could stay awake for months on end.
Right. I mean, they defy our ordinary understanding of what's humanly possible. But I think they serve as powerful reminders of the untapped potential that resides within each of us.
They invite us to question our limitations, to expand our understanding of what we're capable of achieving when we tap into the infinite power of the divine. It's like they're whispering, this is what's possible. This is the potential that lies dormant within you.
And while we may not all aspire to drink poison or stay awake for months, those stories offer a spark of hope, a glimpse of the transformative power that yoga can unleash in our lives. It's about moving beyond the confines of our limited ego and stepping into a realm of boundless possibilities.
It's about recognizing that true yoga is not just a physical practice, but a path that leads to a life of greater purpose, fulfillment, and joy, a life lived in alignment with our highest potential.
Okay, so much to digest here, listener, before we move on.
Yeah.
What's standing out for you? What's sparking your curiosity? What feels particularly relevant to your own journey right now?
Yeah, it sounds like you're really starting to grasp those deeper levels of yoga. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
And remember, Autobiography of a Yogi is like a wellspring of wisdom.
it is.
You can revisit it time and time again, and each reading will likely reveal something new.
It's true. The book unfolds like a map, guiding us towards those hidden pathways within ourselves.
So as we wrap up our deep dive,
I want to leave you with a couple of final thoughts that I think might be particularly helpful for you on your journey.
sounds good.
First, let's circle back to those incredible stories of saints and yogis who seem to defy the limits of human possibility, like Trailanga, who could drink poison without harm. These tales might seem unbelievable,
Right.
but they offer a glimpse into the untapped potential that exists within each of us when we deepen our connection with the divine.
They remind us that the realm of spiritual possibility is far vaster than we can currently imagine. It's about expanding our awareness beyond the confines of the physical and mental to tap into a source of power and wisdom that's always available to us.
Exactly. And second, think back to Yogananda's own journey under Sri Yukteswar's guidance. It wasn't always easy.
Right.
It was filled with challenges, tests, and moments of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But through persistent effort and unwavering faith, he reached extraordinary spiritual heights.
His experience underscores the fact that spiritual growth is a process, not a destination. It requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to surrender to the journey even when it feels difficult or confusing.
It's like anything else worth pursuing in life. It takes time, effort, and a willingness to keep showing up, even when we don't see immediate results. So as you continue to explore yoga and seek those mental and spiritual benefits you've been longing for, remember that the path unfolds step by step.
Approach your practice with that same blend of enthusiasm and dedication that Yogananda embodied, and most importantly, trust the process even when you don't see those dramatic shifts you're hoping for. Know that every effort you make, every breath you take with awareness is a step in the right direction.
Beautifully said, listener. We hope this deep dive into Autobiography of a Yogi has sparked your curiosity and given you some new tools and perspectives to integrate into your practice.
Remember, the true power of yoga lies in its ability to transform not just our bodies, but our minds and spirits, guiding us toward a life of greater purpose, meaning, and joy.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep practicing, and keep that spark of inner transformation alive.